welcome. I'm so grateful that you came out tonight to hear a little bit about the state of the school. I will be speaking through the presentation tonight, but we also have joining us tonight all of the members of the administrative team. So they are happy to help answer questions or jump in as needed if there are further details that you want rounded out. So please don't hesitate when we get through my presentation. We'll have hopefully time at the end for all of your questions, and we're all here to answer. So thank you for coming to hear a little bit about what we're up to. It's really important for us to communicate with you about not only the exciting things that are happening today, but also where we're headed. Important to a Sacred Heart education is the idea of having an education that is both timeless and timely. I always think about what we're accomplishing in the course of a year in the context of what's happening in the world around us. And I think there are so many headline issues that we could raise up in our minds today and talk about today that we are trying to address actively in our school this year. Immigration, climate change, racial issues are all certainly critical topics that are in the hearts and minds of our students today. But I would say, as I was sitting down to get my thoughts together on this presentation, that in the context of 2019, there is one topic in particular that I feel has such dramatic importance in the lives of our students, in the life of our school right now, and of course that is gender equality. In 2023, Stone Ridge will mark our centennial celebration, which means that this year we are in our 95th year of working diligently to educate women to be female leaders. So in the context of what's happening in the world around us, where we see in November historic elections, where a historic number of women have taken seats in public office, when we continue to see the Me Too movement push forward the national conversation around women and how they are treated and objectified in our society, as we have seen momentum gaining on women's issues such as equal pay and what sexual consent actually looks like, and within the Catholic Church, as we see ongoing discussion about the critical role that women play, Stone Ridge is really at the forefront of forming women to be prepared for their rightful place in our society. So the first part of my presentation tonight is going to talk a little bit about what we're doing today as we are forming these young women to be leaders, and the second part of the presentation is going to be about the future and where we're headed, in particular with our construction project. So how about we start with prayer and then lunge right in. Okay. And if you're standing in the back, there is no need for that. There are seats right up here with me. Come, right with me, but don't forget to get food. So again, at any time, if you want more food, please grab it. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. And for our prayer tonight, I chose a poem by Mary Oliver, titled, I Happen to Be Standing. I don't know where prayers go, or what they do. Do cats pray while they sleep, half asleep in the sun? Does the opossum pray as it crosses the street? The sunflowers, the old black oak growing older every year? I know I can walk through the world, along the shore or under the trees, with my mind filled with things of little importance, in full self-attendance, a condition I can't really call being alive. Is a prayer a gift or a petition, or does it matter? The sunflowers blaze, maybe that's their way. Maybe the cats are sound asleep, maybe not. While I was thinking this, I happened to be standing just outside my door with my notebook open, which is the way I begin every morning. Then a wren in the privet began to sing. He was positively drenched in enthusiasm. I don't know why. And yet, why not? I wouldn't persuade you from whatever you believe or whatever you don't. That's your business. but I thought of the wrens singing. What could this be if it isn't a prayer? So I just listened, my pen in the air. Good and gracious God, as we pray together tonight, we bring our prayers and our work with Stone Ridge to our full heart. May we work with the same enthusiasm as that wren in the privet, always drenched in utter enthusiasm for the work of providing what's best for our students. Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Okay. So this year, as you know, we concluded in November the year of celebration of the coming up of St. Rose Philippine Duchenne to the Americas. And those of you who were here last year heard us a lot about this. So I'm not going to say much more about it tonight, except to say that I think it truly was a really significant moment in the life of the Sacred Heart community worldwide, and especially in the United States. I had the great honor of going to St. Louis in November to celebrate the conclusion and represent Stone Ridge there. And here on campus, we dedicated our new statue to Rose Philippine Duchenne. So we will have, from now forward, this beautiful reminder of that important moment in history and our connection to the International Society of the Sacred Heart. It's also very symbolic for us that this new statue will eventually become a part of the heart of campus when we complete our next phase of our master plan. So every day, as I can look out and see that statue sitting there waiting to be put in her rightful place, it is a great reminder of the work that we're doing right now to work on our Student Life Center and the building out of the core of campus. And so that's like a little appetizer for what I'm going to talk about. I know most of you are here to hear about that, so I'm going to save that to the end. But what a beautiful statue, which I think you all know was donated by Anna and Robert Trone, and just a wonderful piece that will live on here as a legacy for the rest of time. So beautiful. So just a few highlights of what's happening in each of the three divisions. In our lower school program, I think you all know that we've been working really hard on the project approach in the Little Hearts program, Readers and Writers Workshop in 1st through 4th grades. There is continued great momentum around how that curriculum is really shaping the experience of our children's daily life. We also, in the early childhood program, broke out the 2s and 3-year-olds this year. So the 2-year-olds have their own classroom, which was a great switch for that program. We have continued a lot of great work on the integration of STEAM throughout the curriculum, a lot of great collaboration between the teachers. Teachers are also working on a new report card, which will be rolled out next year. There are a lot more opportunities for our parents to partner with the teachers in the classroom and also to come in and to engage in learning from the students here at school, learning about what they're doing. And we're very proud of where we've taken the French program this year. There are some new resources that we're using in the French program. It's a very, very dynamic and engaging curriculum for our youngest learners. So those are just a few of the highlights of things happening in the middle school. In the middle school, some of the highlights that we are focusing on: cross-collaborative work within disciplines. This photo is of some of our 6th graders on Rome Day. They're doing a lot of great work on experiential learning, really trying to make better use of DC. You know, when you have a school so close to Washington, DC, it makes a lot of sense to get in there and to take advantage of that. So Ms. Morgan and the teachers are really working to make better use of the city and also to have additional experiential learning trips. So we are trying to run a trip to Quebec and Costa Rica for spring break to get the kids out there using their language. There's also been a lot of work to develop interdisciplinary units within each grade level, really focusing also on the third teacher, the environmental space of the classroom and how we're using that. A lot of new furniture in the middle school this year, so teachers are adapting how they instruct based on those new additions that we have in the classroom. And an expansion of the wellness program. So a lot of conversation around how to help the girls to maintain their stress, to manage their stress, or in a good way, not to have more stress, to reduce anxiety. For several years now, the middle school has also been working very hard on student activities. This year, they added an entrepreneur club to the middle school. They've also added Big Sister, Little Sister programming for the 5th and 8th graders. There's more diversity work that's taking place. And we are participating in the National Geography Bee and Poetry Slam. So lots of great programming that's happening. I know that we're also all sort of wondering with bittersweet emotion about what's happening with the head of middle school search. As you know, Annabelle Morgan, we're very proud of Annabelle. She's going to be taking on a headship at the Commonwealth Academy, so congratulations, Annabelle. A big step for her in her professional career. The middle school search is well underway. We get a whole bunch of, this is kind of a popular place to work. So when we post a job, we get a lot of resumes from the headhunting firms that we work with and from a variety of sources. We whittled that down to the top 24. And I took that grouping and then out of that plucked out the top 12 and did phone interviews with all of those folks last week. Out of that group, the committee that is helping to advise on this process then selected the top 5 candidates from that pool, and we have face-to-face meetings scheduled with those individuals at the end of this week. So by the beginning of next week, the committee, I think, will have whittled down the pool probably to maybe 3 candidates, and then we'll take it from there. And sometimes we go through this process, we bring people to campus, and then we realize, you know what, none of these people are the right fit for the school. And then we just roll up our sleeves and we keep moving forward and go right back at it again. So my commitment is not to be speedy, but to do it right and to find the right person. But you know, if we can wrap this up by the end of March, we would all be really excited about that. So I will keep you informed as we go. But so far it's looking, you know, like we have some really, really great people who are very interested in the role. So that's good news. For the upper school, and I'm very happy to take questions at the end, if that's okay. We'll kind of cruise through what I'm going to say and then take the questions at the end. In the upper school, we're thrilled that Malcolm and Jeannie are Downey Vanover are doing such a great job together. Malcolm, thank you, first year. There's always tons of amazing things happening in our high school. It's very hard to summarize, but I just want to highlight a couple. So the first is some work that actually Jeannie and the World Language Department have been spearheading. And this is to develop a seal of biliteracy for Stone Ridge. This is a way to recognize and to reward students who have achieved dual language in their high school experience. It's one of the ways that we're trying to expand our global education program. So students students can receive this seal of biliteracy if they have demonstrated a high level of proficiency in 2 languages. So it can be English and another language, through writing, speaking, and cultural competence. It is a globally recognized national initiative that is currently running in 33 states. So this is something that, you know, students can present to colleges as they are presenting themselves for candidacy, but also a real, you know, feather in their cap for their own, you know, goals as global citizens. So we're very excited about that. We also have spring break trips that we are planning to run through our World Language program this year. So that program continues to just grow in leaps and bounds. I know that you're aware of this, but I feel like it's important to say, in case you're new to the community, the international exchange program that we run in our high school continues to gain momentum each year. So we're seeing more and more students. It's really focused on our sophomores, who are the ones who go on the exchange. Each year we're seeing more and more interest, and it's just tremendous success for our girls through that program. So it's very exciting. And we love hosting when we have the kids coming. And I think right now, is it 6 students right now, Malcolm?
6.
That are currently visiting from other countries. So it's just, even if your child doesn't go on exchange, it's a very rich experience culturally for all of us. The other very exciting thing that's happening in the upper school this year is a focus on a new program to teach the girls about climate change. This is a cross-curricular initiative that is being spearheaded by some members of our science department, with the goal of really helping the girls to understand and fully grasp the issues related to climate change and how they can be leaders in thinking through solutions in the future. So it's obviously a very timely issue and an important issue for this generation. So we're really excited about that. In the area of athletics, there is too much to report. I started writing, there's bullet points that I'm supposed to hit on, and there's like 30 of them. So this would be a very long presentation if I actually mentioned all of these. I'm sure many of you saw the Bethesda magazine that listed Stonebridge as the best private school for girls sports. We were very excited about that. I think that's the first time we've had that recognition, right? We've added, as you probably recognize, the middle school program has continued to grow. We're really trying to invest in the girls at a younger age with our athletics to give them that opportunity so that by the time they get to high school, they really are feeling prepared for high school athletics and finding the joy in that, and already have learned some of the tougher lessons about managing their time and things like that. This year we added 5th grade middle school basketball, which is great. We have let me share this statistic because it's very impressive. So 70% of our students in grades 9 through 12 are currently participating in a sport. And in the middle school, it's closer to 97%. So just a phenomenal number of students who are able to participate in our athletic competition. Our varsity cross country won the ISL championships for the first time in school history this year. So we're very proud of that. We're also doing a good job of expanding our dance program. So for students who are dancers, that is newer to Stonebridge. It's a program that continues to evolve. We're really excited about that. I think you probably heard about the swimming team that won the National Catholic High School Swim and Dive Championships just a few weeks ago. Very impressive. So that had schools from 7 states across the nation competing, and we won. So very exciting. And just before I came in here tonight, I got a text from Jason McGee saying that our ice hockey team beat Spalding and that we're heading to the championships on Friday. So 5 o'clock Friday. Be there. So those are just, So those are just a few of the many, many exciting things that are happening. We continue to be in the top half of the, within the ISL league, all of our teams are competing in the top 8 in every sport. So we're really proud of our student athletes, not only because of what they're doing in their sport, but of course because of the challenge that it really brings to be a good teammate, to manage their time, and to be a great student athlete. So lots of amazing lessons being learned there. I wanted to remind you that our summer campus program is open. Angie Romano, who runs this program, does a phenomenal job of continually putting in new programming every year, responding to the needs of the families, really trying to enrich what we're doing during the academic year with what we're offering during the summertime. This program fills up pretty quickly, so if you're interested, please register and please spread the word. This is also a wonderful way for families to come to know Stonebridge. So if you have a family that you've been trying to encourage to look at Stonebridge for their child, this might be a way to get them to at least get their foot in the door and start to know our campus and some members of our community. Our admission season is in full throttle right now. I think everybody has met Larita Gordon. Larita is somewhere, there she is, in the back of the room. Larita is our new Director of Enrollment Management this year. Let's give her a big hand. So just a reminder that re-enrollment does close soon, February 8th, and that we are always looking to our families to help us to recruit families for Stonebridge. So of course the cycle for applications has closed at this point for next year. Though I will say that lower school applications tend to come in throughout the year. So if you know people who are still looking for lower school, that's where we have a little bit of softness in our enrollment, and we do, often see families, a lot of lower school families frankly don't realize that the deadline is so early. They're just not as used to the timeline of independent education, so keep promoting about the good work that's happening. This year we started the school year with 752 students in our overall student body, and so that's really the number that we're striving towards overall for the school for next year. We'll see if we get there. But I will say we have never had more applications for the freshman year of high school than we did this year. So the buzz about our high school program is unbelievable, and it's a tough process to turn students away who we would love to take to Stone Ridge, but we just don't have room. So it's a really exciting for us to have such robust numbers coming in and such qualified applicants. So terrific news on that front. The finances of the school remain very strong. Our operating budget this year is about $26 million, and you can see the breakdown there. About 23.6 of that comes from tuition revenue, and the 2.7 comes from auxiliary revenues. So you can see up there what that includes. If you ever come here on a Saturday, you will notice that the Washington Japanese School has taken over the place. That's a huge, huge opportunity for Stone Ridge. And similarly, of course, the way that we rent out our athletic facilities really helps with the bottom line at Stone Ridge. So, Eric Osberg and the Board of Trustees, and there's a lot of players that work really hard to make that happen. And it's a huge commitment on our part, as we continually try to keep the tuition revenue as low as we possibly can. We're trying to use other creative ways to bring in revenue for the school. And of course, our investment portfolio remains very strong at approximately $36 million, depending on what happens in the market on a given day. That's a really good number for a school of our size, and especially for an all-girls school. So finances are good. The Marketing and Communications Department moved the annual report this year to an online version. So if you haven't seen it, I would encourage you to take a look at it. It's not just a list of names of who gave money, but also gives some interesting information about the school. This is one of the ways that we're trying to be good stewards of the earth by not producing as much paper. So I hope that you found that and are able to access it. I also wanted to highlight the fact that last year we brought in a little more than $1.2 million through our annual fund. So thank you for participating and supporting that effort. That did get us to our goal, and Melissa Prather was very happy about that. We're all very grateful. This year, the annual fund is currently at a little bit more than $900,000. So we are about 69% of the way there. And at this point in the year is when we do more aggressive outreach with our alumni and with past parents and things like that. For the most part, most of the parents of Stone Ridge have already, at this point, contributed to the annual fund. So thank you very much for supporting that. And we have a lot of people who are helping not only to write checks, but also volunteers who are helping to solicit those donations. So we're extremely grateful to the parents for their support of that good work. We also have our Golf and Tennis Classic coming up. I hope many of you will choose to participate in that this year. It's a lot of fun. The tennis was something that we had done many years in the past, and then it sort of faded out, and we brought it back several years ago, and it's a wonderful way for folks who don't enjoy golf, but who just want to be out and have a good time to come together. We also always need volunteers for that day. So if you don't want to do either, but you want to be part of the event, please call Melissa's office and let them know that you're interested. We love this event. It's a lot of fun, and it's a great way to raise money for our athletic program. The Stone Ridge Parents Association, once again, continues to amaze us with their phenomenal work and support of the school. And I can't tell you how much it makes a difference in the life of Stone Ridge to have this team of people leading the efforts. Again, way too many things to list off that are happening with the SRPA, but if you have not yet become involved with the SRPA, I really encourage you to do so. They are very gracious in always saying if you have 1 hour or 1 hour a year or 1 hour a week, we have something for you to do. And I think that really is genuine. It's a great way to get to know the community, to meet other parents, and to get involved in the life of your child's school. So thank you for those of you who are helping. There's a number of SRPA leaders here in the room tonight. I want to thank them, but also encourage all of you to participate. One of the other things that we're excited about this year is the new Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Many of you have met Michelle Black. She's doing a terrific job for Stone Ridge. We have many goals around diversity, equity, and inclusion at Stone Ridge, which feed right into Goal 4, the building of community as a Christian value. So this year we are, of course, continuing on as a No Place for Hate school. We're very proud of the students for the leadership that they provide in that program. Our upper and middle school students also participate in a wide range of activities off campus, collaboration with other schools in the area, collaboration with schools nationwide over issues around diversity. Our Student Diversity Board in the high school sponsors a lot of activities throughout the year, such as assemblies and brown bag events, discussing issues, helping students to understand how to engage in appropriate dialogue around difference. We also have a number of diversity cultural groups in the high school who sponsor activities throughout the year. So lots of great programming. A number of parents came to a wonderful workshop that we did just a couple nights ago. When was it? Thursday night? Yeah, last Thursday. This is the first of 3 workshops that Michelle is offering called Better Together, and they are an opportunity for any family at Stone Ridge to come together to talk about the community here and how to build a community that truly values, loves, and respects every child and the unique gifts that she brings to Stone Ridge. So if you were not able to make it, I highly encourage you to come to the next one. I can't remember the date. Does anybody remember the date?
It's in March 3rd.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the date offhand.
Okay.
We'll have it for you in a second.
Okay, so we're going to look it up, but it's sometime in March, and I was so impressed with the number of people who showed up to the last one, and we said at the end of the night, gosh, if everybody who came this time brought one friend, the room would be completely full, and it would make for an even more robust conversation. So please, March 4th. Okay, March 4th. So please consider coming to that. We would really appreciate it. Okay, educational technology and innovation. Always lots going on here. So I'm not going to go into a lot of details, but just want to remind you that we continually not only do a lot to enhance the technology at Stone Ridge, but to help our students to understand how to use technology in a safe way. So that's a big part of the curriculum and something that our ed tech team is always keeping their eye on and very mindful of, because I think we would all agree that that is one of our greatest parenting and educational challenges for children of this generation. So really important work that is happening there. I'm excited about some exploration that we're doing around the use of augmented reality and virtual reality for both marketing the school and also in the classroom. So some research is happening now that I think we will have our minds blown pretty soon with some of that work. And then, of course, a variety of integrated projects within each division to teach coding, which we started several years ago and which is just gaining more and more speed over time. The communications and marketing department does a phenomenal job. Connie Mitchell is here. Thank you, Connie, for being here tonight. I just wanted to include this as a reminder to you. If you are not receiving our alerts, if you are not following Stone Ridge on Instagram and Facebook or Twitter, I really encourage you to do that. There is so much happening, and all these just little blurbs of information that get you very excited about what your child is learning, and in many ways helps you to see what's going to come next, right? So if you have a child in middle school and you're following us on Instagram, you get a really nice insight into what the high school experience is going to look like. And even looking at what's going on in the lower school, it's so charming and wonderful to see what our little ones are learning and what they're doing and what they're producing and the joy that they bring to our campus every day. So if you are not connected, I encourage you to do that. And I also would ask you, when you see something interesting, forward it to a friend that you think might be interested in Stone Ridge. Again, word of mouth advertising is the best form of advertising for our school. And we're always looking to bring in more terrific families into our community. A quick update about the Director of Security position. As you're aware, we announced that we were posting this position earlier this year. We've done an exhaustive study to find the right person for the job. Am I allowed to say his name, Eric?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, I wasn't allowed to say his name like 2 days ago. He's just informed his employer and has started to go public. So we have hired a gentleman by the name of Bob Rappaport. He has 31 years of experience on the Rockville Police Department, and several of those years in a leadership role. So we are very excited to bring Rob onto our team. He will be responsible for overseeing the security efforts on campus. He will also be responsible for a lot of the training that we do on an annual basis to prepare members of the employee base for emergency procedures and things like that. He will be starting on April 1st. So very happy to have that finished. Corey Fogg is joining us tonight. Corey is responsible for curriculum and professional development. And again, this is one of the sort of maybe hidden strengths of a Sacred Heart Stone Ridge education. We put an awful lot of resource into our professional development program, which means that our teachers are coming to us. We hire, it's not easy to get a job at Stone Ridge. I think we hire very well, but then we also invest in our teachers at a pretty high level. So we are continuing to send people out to a wide range of workshops and courses so that they can continue to refresh their own skills and give our children the very best. I would invite you to join us on February 13th at 6:30 for the presentation by Rachel Simmons. I don't know how many of you have had a chance to read her book or at least skim it, but Rachel is a terrific speaker. She's very easy to listen to. She's funny and engaging, and we'll be here on campus meeting with our students throughout the day on February 13th, and then of course here to present to our parents that evening, and then we'll be doing a workshop with the faculty and staff the next day. So if you can make it, I really would encourage you to try to attend. And the final academic part of my presentation, which will segue straight into information about the Capital Campaign project and the master plan, is about the performing arts. So we are incredibly proud of the great work that's been happening in the area of performing arts over the past couple of years. We have had a strong drama department for a long time at Stone Ridge. Sandra Blakely, who has been in our upper school for many, many years, and then Rick Westerkamp in the middle school, just do a phenomenal job of working with our kids, empowering them in a whole host of ways, but also using really kind of crummy space to get it done in. This year, hopefully some of you came to see As You Like It, and the Addams Family. The high school is now preparing Into the Woods, which we're very excited about. And I'm embarrassed, I can't remember what the middle school is doing. What play are they doing?
A series of plays written by upper school students.
Oh, that's why I couldn't remember. A series of plays written by upper school students. So lots of exciting things happen every year in our drama department. The visual arts classes are also continuing to partner with some of the boys' schools in the area for our annual art competition, which is a lot of fun for the girls. And we hosted that earlier this year. I hope that some of you came to the music concert, which took place. We had our music celebration at the beginning of Catholic Schools Week. The parents that I spoke to afterwards had such high praise for what was happening with our choral and orchestra and band performances that evening. And again, not only is this program very strong, but it's also continuing to grow. So a few years ago, if you came to Stone Ridge, there really wasn't much being offered in the way of instrumental music in particular. So to see a concert like the one that we saw on the 31st, it like makes my heart leap like right out of my face. It's just amazing to see how far our students have come. which leads us into a discussion about space. So while those programs are going gangbusters, it is too bad that the space that they're housed in is really not proper space for the arts. So the important work that is happening on the level of the Board of Trustees and what's engaging a lot of the time of many of our administrators this year is work around the Centennial Campaign, which is the fundraising mechanism to help us to build the next part of our master plan. And so that's the second half of my presentation is going to be walking you through some of that information. And then when I wrap this up, I'm happy to take questions on both programming this year and what we're doing on this front. So this is just a list of the members of our Board of Trustees. We are so profoundly grateful for the time and leadership that they provide to the school. We couldn't have a better team of folks who are helping us at this really important juncture in the history of the school. In terms of our Centennial Campaign, those of you who have been around for a while remember the Gators Go Turf campaign. This was a $6 million fundraising effort that we conducted and completed in 2014 to build the St. Malo and Sophie Pavilion in Gator Field. The project was a $7 million project, and we allocated $1 million out of the resources of the school and then raised $6 million for that project at that time. And the second phase of this Centennial Campaign is now the Cor Unum One Heart campaign. This is a list of our campaign executive committee. Robert and Anna Trone are the chairs. They're sitting in the front row here. So I'm sure they'd be happy to answer questions as well. Let's give them a big hand. They are doing unbelievable work for us right now. But you can see the names of our campaign executive committee members. This team of folks has been meeting for quite a few months and going out to solicit leadership level gifts for the campaign, building up to our public launch. The public launch for the campaign will take place in March, so it's coming really soon. We're 3 weeks away from launching our public campaign. We're so excited to start sharing that information. I'm going to go back for a second. So I just want to sort of tell you what to expect with that. The public campaign is going to be launched virtually at first, so you will start to receive emails from us one a week with a message about the campaign, just getting people stirred up and excited about it. And then at the end of April, everyone is invited to a community event. So I hope that you will mark your calendar for April 28th from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. We will have an event here on campus that will be a come one, come all type of party. You'll hear some information about the master plan, about how we're doing with our fundraising, about our goals around the fundraising, and stir up a lot of energy and excitement to get the community on board. So please mark your calendar. We would love to have you join us. That is reunion weekend, so we're also hoping that a number of alumni will be able to come and be part of that important kickoff as well. So what are we raising money for? We are raising money for the Cor Unum project, which is building out the heart of campus. So we've been talking about this for a while, and what I'm showing you tonight is the latest and greatest that we have in terms of artist renderings and sort of what we know today about what this thing is going to look like. If you're newer to the school, I'll just give you the high-level overview, which is the main idea here is Cor Unum One Heart, building the heart of our school through, first of all, a campus quad, so outdoor space where our school can gather and be together, and then also a student life center, which will house an all-school dining space, which can double as worship space for masses, and then arts classrooms for orchestra, band, chorus, 2D, 3D art for the upper school, and a 420-person theater. There's also going to be a lot of hangout space in the Student Life Center where students can just collaborate, where they can be for a free period if they're doing work, where you can go and meet if you're working on a project with other parents. There'll be space in this building where you can go and have a coffee together and do some work. So the big idea is right now when you come onto campus, you drive here and you have to take a sharp turn this way to get to the high school building, which is here. The first phase of this project is going to be to build a loop road that will, instead of turning sharply, you can go straight. This will take you through part of the woods, and then behind the swimming pool, and into that back parking lot. There'll be 2 lanes, one that passes right in front of the gym area and the swimming pool, the other which would go along the fence of Bethesda Navy Med to allow for, this is kind of where you circulate, this is where you would drop off. So this will provide a lot of things for our campus, including hopefully easier transition through the around the campus itself. But the most important thing is that it allows us to get rid of the pass-through traffic which currently runs right through the heart of campus. So by closing down that roadway to vehicular traffic, that will allow us to use it for pedestrian traffic. And it will become a safe zone where your daughters can hang out throughout the day, where they can take their lunch, where they can have a class project, and we will be moving the playground into part of that space as well. The big construction on this will be taking place right here. This is the new Student Life Center. So right now, what exists in this space is the lower school playground and the water retention pond. This right here is the walkway that currently exists between the playground and the athletic center. So you can see that all of this will be new. This is all the same. This just gives you a different view, a little closer up view of the heart of campus. So when we're talking about the campus quad, this is the space that we're talking about. This little playground area already exists. It's right outside of our Little Hearts Center where our 2- and 3-year-olds are. This will be the expanded part of the playground. So what currently is here will be moving over to this area. We'll level out the land a little bit and put some additional equipment here. The students will also, because this will now be for pedestrian traffic only, the circle can be used for play with the lower school now. So if they want to play with the tricycles or play Foursquare or something with a hard top, they can be out in this area running around. So it will sort of all blend together. And of course, this will be the new Student Life Center. So here is the artist's rendering of what this building will look like. This is the view if we were standing on Gator Field together and we're looking at the building. This is what we would see. On the lower level of the building, you can see we would be peeking into the dining hall. And up top here are arts classrooms. This is the view from if you were standing in the quad itself. Oh no, I'm sorry. This is the view if you were standing basically at the intersection where the high school is. So these steps which lead up to, again, the dining hall area on this side. So tables outside so students can grab a meal in and come right out and hang out if it's a nice sunny day. This side of the building houses the theater on the lower level. And the hallways will be intentionally sort of wide and open so that they can not only be gallery space for the artwork of our students, but also be space that can be used sort of like a student union in a college where kids can just be, and there'll be chairs and places for them to do their work and socialize and build community. Do you like the way it looks?
Yeah.
Gorgeous, right? You can clap, you can jump around, all these fun things. So now here's the view if we were in the quad. So again, I think you're getting your orientation probably by now, but dining hall over here, theater on this side. And this beautiful bell tower, which will have some iconography from Sacred Heart. So we're excited about the presence that this will create on campus. This will be highly visible from the road. So when you look out to Stone Ridge, right now, we all know what a profound difference having Gator Field there on the corner has made in terms of curb appeal and just this, incredible experience of coming to campus. This too will be, I think, a huge beacon to the community that calls attention to our school and really beautifies our space. So inside, I know you cannot see what any of this says, but I'm just going to point out a few things to you because I think it's helpful to sort of see what some of the key components are. This is a diagram of the first floor of this building. So again, on this side, you can see the theater, 420-person seat theater. One of our faculty members heard me talking about this at the employee meeting this week, and he walked out and he said, well, there's one important thing you didn't say. Are there men's bathrooms near the theater? And yes, they are. They are right here. So if you've ever been to a show at Sophie Center, you know that you have to go up 3 flights of stairs if you're a man and like wind through the whole building to get to the restroom. It is your lucky day because the bathrooms are right here. Yeah, I guess you can go. Sandy, you're so inappropriate. Our students who are involved in performance will be very happy to see that there is a proper green room back here. There is a room for the scene shop is back here. So we have a lot of students who don't necessarily want to be on the stage, but who do a lot of the backstage work with set design and who help with directing and the lighting and all of that, work on the production. So lots of space for the work that those students do back here. Everybody always wants more storage, but we're trying to get as much storage into the building as possible. And then on this side, of course, is the layout for the dining space, the proper industrial kitchen, which is going to be a huge game changer for our community. And then this area right here is a little cafe. So this is a space that we envision will have sort of a coffee area where, if you're meeting with a group of parents to talk about something in the morning, you want to drop off and then come gather somewhere to have a conversation, you could go into the cafe. During the school day, girls could use this if they have a free period. They could meet there, they could do their work there. After school, same thing. And then during the lunch hour, what we're envisioning here is that the employees of the school could gather in this space for their lunchtime. Right now, Stonebridge does not have a space where employees can sort of informally gather in that way. And so, those organic conversations that happen when you get to sit down and talk to somebody who you don't see on a regular basis, those conversations are really important to our work. They're important to building community in a Sacred Heart school, but they're also important to our ability to dialogue about what we're teaching and how we're teaching. If a kindergarten teacher can sit down with an upper school physics teacher over lunch and talk about a great idea where the upper schoolers can come and teach a lesson to the lower school, that's a real win for our girls and for the life of the school. So we're very excited about the many, many ways that this space is going to build community at Stonebridge. I should say, you'll see this in a second, but this space can be reconfigured in many ways for different events. All school masses will take place in that space, as well as big events that we have. For example, if we have a big gala or something like that, a perfect space for something like that. Here's the upstairs. So again, wide hallways with lots of space for galleries. So student artwork can be displayed in a host of ways. This is the upper level of the theater. There's a mezzanine for some of the seating, and then of course, all of the infrastructure that's needed for a proper fly and the lighting and all of that for stage productions. Over here we have our 3D, 2D art studios, photography lab. The kiln will be upstairs, choral, band, orchestra. We'll have rooms for individual practice rooms, so students who are studying an instrument can go off and work in a little bit of privacy. And again, bathrooms. Thank God. Here is the current artist rendering of the theater. So now you can applaud again, because we really need this. Isn't this awesome? Look at the girl in the spotlight. So one of the things we're trying to accomplish with the design of this is to make it very multifunctional. So you can see that there are windows in the theater, which is not always, not every school sort of has that as part of their design. We wanted to have natural light as part of the space because we know that this space will not only be used for stage productions, but also for meetings, This will be a place where the upper school can have their assemblies. This will be a place where we can have lectures, social action assemblies. I imagine this being used an awful lot, even nights like tonight in the future would be in a place like this. So very excited about the design of that. Here's our view if we were actually performing, if we were the actors, this is what we would see. So you can see that the mezzanine level will allow for, I think, good visibility for a lot of our students. That's okay, where are we going? So yeah, so this is how it's coming together. And of course the sound equipment and all of that will be back here. So again, you know, that's part of the curriculum that our students are learning how to do all of those technical components of the theater. So all of that is being planned for. Is this the same view that we just saw? Did I go backwards? No. Okay, and now here is the current drawing of inside, when you walk into the Student Life Center, this is what we're imagining you're going to see. So that cafe that we were talking about is right on this side here. And then here's the dining hall. And so over this way, off-site here, is where the theater would be. What are you guys saying?
You should have put your name here instead of Jennifer Cafe.
Oh. That's it, your name here. So here's the inside. Again, you can see the beautiful, we're putting in lots of glass to have a modern feeling, but also so that the girls will get a lot of natural light. I'm very excited that this is a building that you have to go outside to get to. That was somewhat controversial when we were first talking about building an all-school dining space. Some people thought that it would be wise to have it connect so that if it was raining or if it was cold out, that the kids wouldn't have to get wet or wouldn't have to put on a coat or whatever. But I think there's a lot of value in getting outside. And we can brave the elements. We can do it. So, you know, to get into the outdoors, to take a deep breath, that really is part of what keeps us well and healthy. And we are doing a lot to incorporate natural light and the beauty of the campus around us into the space. Oh, you can also see our current lunchrooms don't really accommodate for this very well. You can see that we're trying to mix in different types of tables. So some that are round and smaller, some that are long. You know, different personalities of kids. It's amazing how lunchtime can be really fun for certain kids and really stressful for others. So we're really trying to account for that. There will be areas where there's more like a 2-top or, you know, a 4-top table and then different sizes. So they can really, you know, kind of do what is comfortable and what will allow them to relax and have a good time at lunch. And then of course this is the setup, same perspective, but different setup. Now we're set up for liturgy. One of the things that we're excited about is that the capacity of the space for liturgy will allow us to invite parents to at least some of the all-school liturgies, which I think, you know, will be the mothers who came to the lower school moms came to our all-school liturgy for Mother's Day last year, and it was one of the first times that most of those moms had ever been to an all-school mass. We just can't accommodate it in the gym, so we're really excited that this will be an opportunity that some people might want to take advantage of. And then again, there is Your Name Cafe, so Your Name Here Cafe. Okay, so that's it. That is the presentation. I'm sure some of you might have questions that I'm happy to answer if I can, and if I can't, my colleagues are here to help answer whatever you want to know. Yes?
Projected time to start.
Thank you.
To start looking into.
Great. Sorry, I forgot to say that. So, Capital Campaign launches March 1st. The building of the project, we're hoping, did you notice when you came in that we now have the white sign out there that says that we... Yes. So we are in the process of trying to get our approvals. We are working on the final design for the road. The roadway is what has to happen first. So we are hoping to break ground on the road this summer. And it would be very ambitious to think that we could break ground on the road and have it completed by the time we start school. But that, of course, would be the dream come true scenario. We're imagining that the road will take longer than that, but that we will break ground on that this summer and also start the process of moving the playground this summer and then break ground on the building itself in the fall. The entire project, if we stay on track with permitting, with timing, with financing, with the whole thing, it should be done and open in the fall of 2021. So it's a quick timeline once we get rolling. And we're also making good use of the opportunity for, sometimes when a project like this is happening on campus, students think, oh, that's going to be disruptive. But I've actually found it to be sort of the opposite. It's actually, obviously there's this big project going on, but it can be very educational for the girls to see the project unfold. They tend to, if a kid is on campus as something is coming online, they tend to really buy into it, get very excited about it, and always feel like they own that in some way. And we also have ideas around how to bring in members of the architectural team, the design team, the engineering team, etc., to present to the girls, not only at the beginning, but along the way, and allow them to learn about what are the jobs involved, in a project like this. And it just so happens that a number of the lead members of our team are females. So it's kind of exciting for the girls that they'll have exposure to see women who are working on these types of projects. Other questions? Yes?
I have two very quick questions and maybe one slightly longer. Is it true that the Student Life Center is going to have a blue flag hanging over it permanently?
No.
Oh, blue team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are the hours going to be? So when's it going to open? And how long will the kids be able to use it? And then I had a question just going back to your comment about the new security director.
Yes.
So is that person, particularly in light of all the campus changes, going to be doing a security audit of any type to see where we might have vulnerabilities and, with the flow of the girls now
Yep,
being
great
more
questions.
expansive?
Great questions. So in terms of operating hours of the new Student Life Center, I don't know the answer to that. If I were going to guess right now, I would say probably similar to what we do now, which is, opening really closer to 7:15 in the morning and closing at about 6:30. But we'll cross that bridge closer to fall of 2021 to figure out what kind of programming is going to be happening after hours in there. In terms of the security, so yes, we actually have a team of volunteers that have been helping us. They're security experts who happen to be fathers in the Stonebridge community, who have been helping us with looking at an audit that we did of our security on campus several years ago, helping us to prioritize exactly sort of what we should be doing today. Their first recommendation was to hire this director of security. So this is sort of the first step out of the work that we've been doing pretty deliberately and intentionally with that group for about 9 months now. The other thing that group has started to help us with is they have spent quite a bit of time actually on the master plan with us. So looking at the new building, looking at all the entrances, looking at the roadways, looking at how all of this is coming together, and advising us on some of the security measures that we'll need to put into place in the building. But yes, as the new director of security comes on board, that will be a big part of his job. Great questions. Yeah?
What happens to the freed up space in the current building?
Another great question. So part of this project, part of what we're raising money for is the renovation of the existing space in the current academic buildings. So there's some big spaces, like this space would no longer be needed for dining for the lower school, but it will still be used, I think, for lower school assemblies. They do quite a bit of programming in here with the after school program and whatnot, but there is a lot of space in the building that's going to open up. So the upper school art room will be converted into a middle school art room. Right now the middle and lower school share an art room. So the middle school art room will become kind of a combined makerspace and art room for middle school. We have a very long list of things that we are looking to do. A lot of it is just to expand classroom space to improve the classroom space. Many of our classrooms, especially in middle school, are very small. So the type, even with new furnishings, the type of work that the teachers want to do, moving kids around, getting them to collaborate, be able to move throughout the room is a little bit challenging in some of those spaces. We also lack space for faculty collaboration. A lot of our faculty members don't have a place to put their stuff in the day, so if they're sharing a classroom with other folks, that can be really challenging. So faculty space, we're looking at our library space and trying to figure out, as we continue to evolve the way that we use our libraries, what we want that to look like. So I think there'll be some shifting around there. So those are some of the key components.
Will you be targeting a different enrollment level post this? Or?
We're not really looking to build the high school or to grow the high school. The high school, I think, at this time is a pretty good size for Stone Ridge. What we're looking to do is to fill the lower school. So we're not really expanding the student body. We are just looking to be maxed out. So middle school and upper school are much closer to, upper school is completely full. Middle school, I think there's a little bit of wiggle room, but not much. And
But this won't impact.
it's not going to impact the overall size of the school.
But will allow for us to expand our middle and lower school.
Yes. Expand programming, yes, yes.
And with the loop road, what are your morning drop-off points?
Oh, good question. So here's what we're picturing. We are imagining that the middle school will continue to use the Hamilton House Circle, that the upper school, instead of getting dropped off over here, that the upper school can be dropped off. A lot of the girls in the upper school park back here anyway, right? If they're driving, they park back here. So we're imagining that the new drop-off zone for high school will be in front of the athletic center. This will allow student athletes to journey towards the Student Life Center. We're thinking that the assembly period will be in the Student Life Center. So their first contact point in the morning will be in the Student Life Center. So if they're dropped off here, they can walk this way. If they have athletic equipment, they could drop it in the gym and they go straight into the Student Life Center, have their assembly, and then head over to the academic building or upstairs or into the Student Life Center for their classes. So that's where we're imagining them going. And for the lower school, I'm sorry I forgot to say this, while this will be closed down to vehicular traffic for the majority of the day, during drop-off and pickup, the lower school circle will be accessible. So lower school parents will be able to drive in here, drop their child, go back out, and then at 8:10 or 8:05, whatever time it's over, we will put the barricades up, and that will become inaccessible for vehicles. This lane will always remain some type of paved, either with, I don't think it's going to be asphalt, but there'll be some kind of pavers there because this will always be an access lane for emergency vehicles. So that's how pickup and drop off will work for lower school. What else?
What's the price? What is the total budget on this right now?
It's a $40 million project. So the $40 million includes the new building, the new construction. It includes the renovation of the existing space. It includes the FF&E in the new building, and it includes a little bit of contingency. Yes?
Who's doing the construction?
Gilbane.
Do you anticipate a lot of additional staff needed to be part of the building?
I anticipate some staff. There'll probably have to be, I don't know if we're going to need a full-time building manager, but we might need somebody who's sort of, taking care of the space. I think that the programming might grow with the arts in particular, perhaps with the drama in particular, that it might grow, so there might be additional staff. Maintenance, we might need some additional maintenance support just for cleaning. It's a huge space, so it's going to be a big job. maybe some other administrators, am I forgetting some other important job?
Maybe just someone that's kind of the front desk, but in the building.
Yeah, security, checkpoint person. So it definitely could create a couple of jobs.
And is there gonna be some sort of a maintenance fund that's, because as soon as you open the doors, it starts to wear. So do you have that sort of built in somehow?
We do. So Eric is really a very clever man, has been doing a lot of projection of the long-term impact that this building will create for us in terms of electricity bills, the maintenance, all of those costs. I don't know, Eric, if you want to expand on sort of how you're thinking about and planning for that.
Yeah, so we're factoring in without any cost and capital costs for it, and now the project management is helping with some budgeting, and we have our own experience here just in terms of what we know the cost operating these buildings, so we know a placeholder in that, which would be, use that for a combination of people and electricity and,
So I have a question. So similar to like Gator Field and some of the other facilities, will there be, or do you envision an opportunity even for additional revenue generation from the Student Life Center to kind of help offset costs as well too? Like, I'm not sure what the philosophy is on using that space like the theater and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think, whenever we have a space, we have to develop policy around what we're going to do with it. I would imagine that there will certainly be opportunities for us to generate revenue through this space. I don't know what that's going to look like. The use of the stage is a little different because even while we're not in production mode, the kids are doing set design. It's hard to clear the whole theater in order to allow another production to come in. But certainly, we are, I think, being very prudent about how we look at our greatest asset, which is the 35 acres that we have here, and make good use of it. So I would imagine that there will be opportunity for that.
Is that new road that will be kind of in the perimeter, will go through those fields out there? Or those fields remain to be something?
The fields will remain. So the long-range plan, you can sort of see it here. The long-range plan is to build 7 tennis courts back here. So this, yay! So this is what's kind of that Mesa field, right? So 7 tennis courts back there, and then preserving this field. So the idea is to build that out as another turf field and to put a 4-lane track around it. That's the eventual plan. Don't get too excited because all of this takes a lot of money and time. So if you have a lot of money, I have time. If you have money, I can use that right now.
You have the town and the architect.
So that's the vision, is that this would be another turf field with 4-lane track, and then behind that, where we currently have, there's a house on the back of that property that used to be a residence and is currently being used for storage. Eventually, we imagine that will go away, and that will become the softball diamond back there. So that's the plan. And then this is the music cottage, which is out in the gardens. In the long-range plan for the school, we are hoping to put up a freestanding chapel there, which would be incredible for us to have that right on the front of campus in that beautiful garden area. You can imagine how lovely that would be. Other questions? Okay. Well, I'm so grateful that you came out tonight. I hope you're as excited about this as I am. So now the fun starts. We get to start promoting this project to our community. So again, starting March 1st, we're going to be bombarding people with great messaging about how exciting this is for our school. And sort of, back to where I started, I do think, when we look at a project like this, it's a $40 million investment in the future of Stone Ridge. Which is, it's a lot of money, it's a lot of work, but when I think about what's going to happen in the next century here on this campus and the amazing leaders that we're producing and the important work that's at hand, I really think that this is absolutely essential for the future of our mission, and it is the type of investment that we should be making in young women today. So I hope that message will resonate with our community and that people will step up to contribute and to be part of it and to take great pride in that. When we can build this together, That's a really amazing contribution to make to our society. So thank you for coming tonight. I hope you have a safe trip home, and thank you for all your